Good morning, everyone. We are so glad to have you with us. We are going to have a super action-packed show today that you are going to love. It is one that is going to make some people's heads explode. And that is
alone.
What's that?
Title alone.
The title alone, yes. The truth about anonymous accounts. And we will be featuring someone very special on here today. And as everybody gets on here and gets ready, just a little backstory. We're going to jump right into this because there's so much I want to cover. I actually have a lot of Bible I want to get to today. I've got a whole bunch of Bible that I'm wanting to share to kind of explain some of these people. But we do a preaching clip of the week here, and that was inspired by a Twitter account called Fake Sermon. That's what it was originally called. And I liked a lot of the clips. And I thought, let's share some of these clips, good preaching clip every week. And many of the preaching clips of the week are from IFB sermons. In fact, this week's preaching clip of the week is from IFB sermons. And because I like a lot of the preaching. Some of it's really bad, but some of it's really good. Some of it's fantastic. We've made a few cuts on there before, and those
were the best ones of anybody.
Those were the best ones.
By far.
Hopefully today we'll get a few clips out of today, and as a result, because we always love being featured on there. But anyway, this account has a lot of people going crazy in the IFB because they don't like the preaching clips being shared, which I think that's kind of lame. I'm all for them being shared, but I think the accusation is that they don't like their clips being shared, but I don't think that's so much the problem. I think it's the reaction to the clips. When you see, because they'll just post the clip, but then the peanut gallery of degenerates comes on there, and they start leaving the most ridiculous comments. They attribute the craziest ideas and thoughts to things that were said.
Yeah.
If a guy says something against women wearing pants, all of a sudden they just assume he's making that up there with the gospel and equal with the Bible and a way of salvation. And these people are insane. And so what we're going to do today, special, is we're going to start off with the preaching clip of the week, and then I'm going to read some of the reactions to the preaching clip of the week. Okay, but this week, and those of you that watch on YouTube, you're probably not real familiar with Twitter and that world. It's another world, and it's a nasty world. But those of you who follow this program, though, are probably going to be familiar with the pastor. This is Pastor Aaron Thompson from Sure Foundation, and I don't know all the backstory to this clip. I went and I watched the sermon, and it appears that this church kind of had an uprising against the pastor. Looked like they were trying to teach Rucktarnation in there. It could have been a Ruckmanite church because it was called Bible Believers Baptist, which those are usually Ruckmanite churches. But apparently this pastor is not one. He doesn't believe a lot of the Rucktarded garbage that they teach about multiple gospels and stuff, which is good. And so I think some people got bent out of shape, and Pastor Thompson, his message is sticking up for him, which I thought was a good thing. And a woman pipes up in the sermon. And so I thought he handled it good, but the Twitterverse didn't think it was that great. But we heard that and we thought, that's good preaching. And so let's go ahead and roll that clip.
The preacher featured on this clip is not necessarily endorsed by Pastor McMurtry or the Spirit of Liberty broadcast, nor does the preacher being featured necessarily endorse this broadcast or Pastor McMurtry. The makers of the Spirit of Liberty broadcast just heard this clip and thought,
that's good preaching.
And they fell upon their faces and said, O God, the God of spirits of all flesh, shall one man sin? And wilt thou be wroth with all the congregation? But you know what? They were standing with him. But then when they realized that God is not on their side, they start crying. They start whining. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the congregation, saying, get you up from about the tabernacle of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. And Moses rose and went unto Dathan and Abiram, and the elders of Israel followed him. And he spake unto the congregation, saying, depart, I pray you from the tents of these what? Wicked men. So what does God call them? Wicked men. What does Moses call them? Wicked men. Anybody that would rise up and try to overthrow the pastor of this church are wicked for doing that. Right. Now maybe you got caught up into it. Maybe someone tried to bring you and wrangle you into it, but you know what? It's wicked to try to overthrow the pastor if you don't have a legitimate reason for doing so.
That's right. What's the legitimate reason?
For not preaching the Bible, for not doing what they're supposed to do. And women are supposed to keep silence in the church, by the way, during the preaching time. But anyway, depart, I pray you, from the tents of these wicked men, and touch nothing of theirs, lest you be consumed in all their sins. Hey, if you're rebelling against the man of God, if you're rebelling against the pastor of this church, then the Bible says you're wicked. Yeah. It's wicked. It's evil. It's wrong. And you know what? If you're wrong about that, get your heart right. Make your heart right. So God is a forgiving God. He's long-suffering and merciful. But you know what happened to Korah, Dathan, and Abiram? When they separated themselves from those wicked people, Moses said, if you die the death of a normal person, then, I wasn't called by God. If they die a regular death, and then what happened? Hell opened up. And all Korah and Dathan and Abiram and all those people, they went straight down into hell. Have you ever heard that term? They're going to split hell wide open. That's where it comes from.
Yep, right.
That's good preaching.
Right. That was so great. What do you guys bet that as soon as that service is over, maybe even before the service is over, she grabbed her broom and flew home? That's just, I just picture just pure rage. I don't know. I see just a crazy, angry woman there. And oh my goodness, that was rather encouraging when I saw that. But yeah. So here though is an example, because I mean, what are you supposed to do when a woman gets out of line in a service like that? Do you just say you shouldn't get out of line, or do you quote the Bible backing up what you're saying? And these people, they never use any Bible. He just threw Bible right at it.
New Testament Bible.
Yeah, New Testament Bible. So anyway, let's read some responses to this. So we got sweet cracker sandwich. That was just the worst. Like watching a car wreck in which one car is awkward and the other is stupid. And then somebody shared a gif of Michael Scott doing his teeth face. And then her question was a good one, and his answer was the right one, then straight down the toilet from there. Why? It's like his answer was right, so what was the problem? And then somebody said her answer was for not preaching the Bible and then for not doing what they're supposed to be doing. What's that mean? He couldn't be any more vague. It's a stretch to say his answer was the right one. How is that? How is he being vague? Don't try to overthrow the pastor. If they listen to the sermon, they'll find out stuff that, I guess, they were fighting about and trying to spread. There was nothing vague there at all. These people, they just can't handle any type of strong leadership. Let's see. So assuming I was in that service to begin with, that remark by him after that lady asked a legitimate question would have been the exact moment my family and I would have gotten up and left. And then methinks he eisegeted right there. On what? On women keeping silent in the church?
What does that verse mean then?
Yeah. I know. I think you got to use some eisegesis to get anything.
Yeah.
But
that is as crystal clear as it possibly gets.
Yeah. Only eisegesis could come up with any other interpretation
than just reading the text plain as it was written in the first place. There's literally no other interpretation you can get from that without doing something crazy.
Put it in the context of the whole Bible. Like, exactly how are you going to make that passage say or not say what it's saying?
I know. Yeah. And the thing is, with a lot of these trendies, man, they're really getting on board. I'm telling you, women preachers, more and more of them are, okay with that, and are standing against, the patriarchy. These people, these trendies are turning into full-blown feminists. It's pretty disgusting to see it. But anyway, that's just a little sample there, and that's actually pretty tame compared to the reactions to other videos. And it is just, and so the thing is, preachers, I think they see themselves on these clips, and I don't think they're so much embarrassed by what they said, but then they see what everyone says as a result, and it's like, man, I don't think that way. And then they get all scared because everybody's making them out to be the most horrible person in the world. But here's what you got to understand about these people. They're crazy. They're bitter. They hate the IFB. No matter what you do, they're going to hate you. If you preach truth, they're going to hate you. And so they see this stuff and it bothers them. And so, people kind of blame IFB preacher clips, which they do facilitate a lot of this stuff. They purposefully find clips that they know are going to get the mob stirred up. They block people who like the clips.
Yeah.
If you like it and say something positive or defend one of those clips, then they block it. And this, I'm sick of this crowd saying the truth doesn't fear a challenge, because every time you challenge them, they just block you because they are cowards. And I just think that's pathetic. And it's like real people. It's like me. Okay. I get it with the Anons. Okay. I'm sick of these Anons that just act like animals and have no accountability. But I'm going to read a few scriptures. And for those watching, waiting to hear the voice, we have some audio enhancement we did on the IFB Sermon Clips interview that they did on the Recovering Fundamentalist podcast. We're going to play that for you today. We want you all to see if you can help us identify the voice of this individual. So make sure you stay tuned for that. But when I think about, because I am going to pull the mask off of this account, I'm going to find out who they are, and I'm going to expose them to the world. And here's why I want to do this. Because when I think about this account, I've got them profiled, and I know it's going to happen. It's going to be the same thing one of these days when we finally see the devil. And in Isaiah 14:15, which is prophetic scripture, and most people believe this is a reference to Satan, and it says, "Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit." This is the one who said, "I will ascend to heaven, I will do all these things," but he's going to be brought down to hell. "They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, Is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms?" And what I think what that we're kind of seeing there is, when we see Satan one of these days, by then we will have seen Christ in his glory. And when we look at Satan, we're going to think, is this the guy that we were scared of?
Right.
Is this the guy that, did so much damage? How did anyone ever follow this guy? And that when we will have seen Jesus at that point. And so I think it's going to be the same thing. One of the reasons they don't want to be found out who they are is because they are a terrible individual. Yeah. They have no accomplishments.
They're pathetic.
Yeah. This is going to be a truly pathetic individual. And as long as they maintain their anonymity, it creates a mystery around them. And, people aren't going to so much challenge them personally when they're bringing up issues. Because I think if you compared literally any pastor that they feature with them, people are going to be like, who is this guy to be saying anything negative about this other guy? And it would be like watching a homeless tramp give Donald Trump advice on handling finances. Yeah. Nobody's going to listen to the homeless tramp. And that's the type of person this is. And once everyone knows who they are, it's going to lose a lot of its impact that it has. And so they need to maintain their anonymity. So that's one reason. I think no matter what, once everybody knows who it is, there is going to be a true disgust for that individual and be like, who cares what they say? The other thing too, though, it is probably going to be somebody. It may be somebody who has something to lose. It could be a pastor. Yeah, or a missionary, somebody who's should be doing other things and just spends all their time watching preaching and criticizing it, and they don't want to be exposed for the lazy, pathetic loser they are.
And the thing is, because these people are pastors of like these non-denom type churches, or I don't think IFB Sermon Clip says, but or a pastor of an IFB church that's really leading that direction and isn't honest with their congregation. But here's the thing about all these people. If your people attending your non-denom church found out about what you do all week long, they would be freaked out by you.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if they just saw you posting clips of IFB churches all the time, attacking other churches all the time, they would not know what to do with that. Because listen, I've been to a non-denom church before, and you know what people in non-denom churches don't do? Care about anything.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care about like the Bible. They don't care about, attending church or learning about the Bible or fighting the good fight of faith at all. And they find out what you've been doing with all your time as a full-time pastor, they will be freaked out by you.
And they're terrified, though, of negative publicity, too.
Exactly.
And so if some of these pastors start fighting back, we start listening to their preaching.
Yeah.
We start putting videos out about them. And if their church members get a hold of it, it'll freak them out.
Oh, yeah.
And so, like I said, our church members, they know what I do online. It's all out there.
It's in the job description.
Yeah. And everybody's fine that these people have something to hide.
Yeah.
And again, too, they feel the need to hide behind their anonymity. Not just IFB sermons, but all these attack ones, too.
Yeah.
These ones that just come and they attack. And, Proverbs 28:1 says, "The wicked flee when no man pursueth, but the righteous are as bold as a lion." Those who are righteous, they're not afraid. That lion, he's not strutting. He's out in the open for everyone to see because he's not scared.
Mm-hmm.
He's not hiding. He's got that boldness because he knows he can handle what's out there. He's the king of beasts, right? But that wicked, they're running, they're hiding when nobody's even looking for them. And these people too, nobody's paying attention to them. Nobody's interested in them. But at the same time, they still have to hide in order to, especially if they want to get in the fight. They can't get in the fight. They're not going to come after me with their name attached to it because then I can hit them back.
Mm-hmm.
But they can under anonymous account. And obviously, they know they're wicked.
Yeah.
They know that they are wicked people.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, they've got a lot of skeletons in their closet. But, these other pastors whose stuff that they're using all the time and featuring, they're putting their stuff out there because they are righteous and they're bold as a lion.
Yeah.
They don't care. Hey, do what you want to with this stuff. And then here they come along just attacking and they're, hiding behind their anonymity. But another reason, too, that people hate that clip or that channel or whatever is because it is a safe space for crybabies. Yeah. Again, they block anybody who, defends them. And even if they do, if they don't block them, they're going to get pounced on by all these anonymous people.
Well, you use that word safe space there. Mm-hmm. Have you ever looked up their group on Facebook and just looked at the private group title? I went last night because I keep on hearing them talk about it. And they have all these theories that we're in that group somehow. I'm not in that group. And I haven't even seen it until last night.
Might be.
Yeah. So I went and looked at it and just read the rules because it's a private group. You can't see anything in it. You can see who the moderators and the admins are, and you can see the rules. And one of the rules on there was the fact that this group is a safe space.
I admit it. Yeah. Was that the Recovering Fundamentalist one?
Yeah.
That is awesome.
The RFP fan. It's this is a safe space.
Dude, they embody the safe space crowd.
And then they literally said, if you see someone in here that shouldn't belong, you need to report them immediately and kick them out.
Aren't they the guys always saying truth never fears a challenge too?
Yeah.
Not in their safe space.
Let me go look it up and find the...
That's awesome. Well, here's the thing. So in 1 Corinthians 5:11 it says, "But now I have written unto you not to keep company, if any man that is called a brother be a fornicator, covetous, or an idolater, or a railer, or a drunkard, or extortioner, with such a one, know not to eat. For what have I to do to judge them also that are without? Do not ye judge them that are within. But them that are without God judgeth. Therefore put away from among yourselves that wicked person." Yeah. So there are some wicked people we're supposed to put away, and one of them is a railer. And I'm not going to go through all these scriptures, but I preached a message on railing a while back. And railing is more than just saying a false statement. Every time you see railing in the Bible, it's always somebody trying to, basically incite a mob, trying to just make everyone think negative about somebody else. It's not just somebody who just said something false. And so and in that message, I show the examples, Bible examples where they use that word. And the examples that I had, this is some notes from that message. It's throwing out false accusations based on nothing more than your own wicked imagination. And they constantly do that on these things. He said this, he thinks this, and then everybody holds him accountable for what they think he thinks, which is super weird. And then that's railing. When you try to predict bad and failure to someone just to try to intimidate them. We see an example of that in 2 Chronicles 32, 16 through 20, where he's just basically talking trash. We're going to take you down. We're going to destroy you. Your God can't do anything. Man, they talk a lot of trash. Another thing too is when you twist someone's words in a way to try to make them look bad. And that's exactly what they did to Jesus in Mark 15, 29 through 32, where they took his words. They took what he said about destroy this temple.
Yeah.
I don't know why they were upset with us saying we were just using his words, but it was the meaning that they applied to it.
Yeah.
That was false. It was a false witness, and the Bible called it railing. And railers are wicked people. And so that's why they look at this Twitter account with such disgust, because there is a just ton of wickedness, and there's no doubt there's a great deal of hatred.
Yeah.
And understand, these people are not our brothers.
No.
Okay? 1 John 4:20, if a man say I love God and hated his brother, he is a liar. Okay? And IFB sermon clips, he can get on there and he can read what he believes about salvation on his interview, but anybody can listen to preaching and know what they're supposed to say.
Yeah.
Anybody can do that. So I don't really give a rip what he is saying when he's reading something.
Yeah.
I want to see what he's doing, how he's acting. And when I see that kind of hatred, I'm sorry. So this is a command we have from him, that he who loveth God, love his brother also.
Yeah.
So, any clown can read a script.
Yeah.
And say what they're supposed to say.
Yeah.
They know the crowd they're listening to and what they want them to say. But when you just see the amount of hatred that's on there for good, godly people, the way too, they just constantly have to share. They get triggered by the song "I'm Not Going to Hell."
Yeah,
which is super weird.
They are going to hell.
And I think that's why. I think they're jealous.
But yeah, before we play that audio clip, I just want to read off the description for this group and just a couple details about it, so everyone understands the kind of people that we're dealing with here. Because I know a lot of you on YouTube don't know who we're talking about, but if you go up on Facebook, you can look this group up. It's the RFP fam /community Facebook group. There's about 1.6 thousand people in the group. And here's the details of the group. So this is a page for recovering fundamentalists. This is a place to connect with other RFPers for encouragement networking. We love you, RFP fam, hosts of the Recovering Fundamentalist podcast, JC, Brian, and Nathan. Now, here's the group rules, 3 group rules, and this just shows you the mask they're trying to put on themselves and hide in the cowards that they are. Number 1, no screenshots. This is a private group. Please do not share the content from this group unless the creator of the post says it's okay. Number 2, safe space. This is a closed group for a reason. If you see someone that you don't think should be here, please message admin. Number 3, removed/blocked. This is a group for RFP fam. If you aren't here for support or encouragement, you will be removed. This will happen at the admin's discretion to keep this a safe place for those who need this group. Now, just another detail that I saw about it, I scrolled down and looked at the group activity, because you can see this stuff even if you're not in the group. So it's early in the morning, it's not even noon anywhere in the United States. There's 25 new posts today. Get this, in the last 28 days, 2.3 thousand posts in the last 28 days.
Holy cow.
These people do nothing with their lives. They're good for nothing. They don't do anything. Look, 2.3 thousand posts in the last 28 days. There's 1.6 thousand people in the group. And it's just over and over and over and over again. Making posts, trying to find, people on there that are like them, because, they are a small minority. And the thing is, on Twitter, to a lot of these IFB guys out there that get their clips shared and they don't like it for some reason, they seem like this great, big, powerful mob that's just going to take you down. But listen, I don't get intimidated when I see a bunch of people that are too scared to even show their real face trying to throw an ESV verse at me. I don't reconsider the things that I've said or my beliefs or certain positions on positions because I see some guy that wants to sympathize with a bunch of effeminate, freak, skinny jean wearing queers, queer-like people. It doesn't affect me in any way, shape, or form. And it blows my mind that there's people out there that are affected by it. But I think we need to play the audio.
Yeah.
Because
let's play the audio. So and one of the reasons we're doing this too, we're trying to bring awareness to this subject. Yeah. So maybe some of you out there who are a little more tech savvy than me can help me nail this person. And because they do not want to be found. And there is a reason.
They're terrified.
I'm pretty sure one of the two reasons I gave, and if not both of them, are true. But either way, we're going to find out. And so let us listen. This is this first. Now, when I heard this clip, I was devastated because I thought I recognized this voice. And I confronted the individual. He swore it wasn't him. He admitted it sounded like him. But we'll let you listen to that one first because this one sounds very like authentic. The other one still sounds a little distorted. But let's check this out.
I know for a fact that there are many, many IFB church members who watch these videos and suddenly see the preaching in a different light for the nonsense that it is, and for the first time actually question it.
All right, let's play that one more time. I think we started it.
Behind them. I know for a fact that there are many, many IFB church members who watch these videos and suddenly see the preaching in a different light for the nonsense that it is, and for the first time actually question it.
So that was from the interview. Now listen to this one. This one sounds a little different. This one still sounds a little artificial, so we might not be real close, but if you recognize this voice, let us know who you think it is. So let's check this out. This is a little longer clip.
Hello, I run the account known as Fake Sermon on Twitter. If you're not aware of the page, it's devoted to posting content and video clips about IFB preachers. If you're unfamiliar with the acronym, that stands for Independent Fundamental Baptists.
Hey, man.
The majority of the posts are actually clips from sermons preached by these men of God, also known as MOGs, on the page. Each video posted includes the hashtags Old Paths and IFB preacher clips. If there's a well-known IFB preacher out there, there's a good chance they've been featured on the page. Names like Tony Hudson, John Hamblin, Jack Hiles, Phil Kidd, Bill Reeves, Jack Treber, Bob Gray Sr., Larry Brown, Nathan Rager, just to name a few.
Okay, now, an interesting thing. When I announced that we were going to be playing some audio clips, a couple people got really interested that don't follow me, one that has me blocked, and they seem to be very interested and excited about that. And that was J.C. Groves and Nathan Crevitt,
hosts of the
Recovering Fundamentals podcast.
Where we got this audio from.
Yeah, they seem very anxious. Now, here's one thing, too. Guys, you did a horrible job of acting like you were actually talking with them and interviewing them.
Yeah.
Can you believe we're talking with IFB sermons right now? It's like, no, I don't, because these are pre-recorded clips that you guys are playing. He's not actually talking with you, online. That part was super obvious.
Yeah.
You could tell the way it was edited. There was just no reality to the conversation at all, but they were playing it off like he's right there. But at the same time, too, and you kept telling me this, but until I was listening to that, I'm starting to hear it a little bit.
Yeah.
That kind of sounds like Nathan.
And here's the thing. I think that you guys, the Recovering Fundamentalist podcast guys, I know you're going to watch this. And I know that you were wanting us to do this and send everybody on this wild goose chase of listening to this audio over and over and over and over again to try to find out who this person was and identify him by that. Well, here's the thing. I made that clip. I knew who it sounded like as soon as I did it, and it sounded exactly like Nathan Crevitt. Now, I'm not dumb enough to believe that I'm just going to go off and act like, oh, it's Nathan Crevitt now. Nathan Crevitt's the person running this account. He's not. He doesn't have anything to hide. The person that runs this account has a lot of stuff to hide. What they did is they were just reading off. I think that they did a legit interview with this person, but all they did was just send in responses that they typed up. Then they had the recovering fundamentalist guys read them off with a voice changer, so it sounded like it was a different person. But that last clip, that introduction, sounds exactly like Nathan Cravat, and all they did was just use their voice with a voice changer to mask it. So, you know, us IFB guys, we're not as dumb as you think. You know, I'm pretty aware of that.
Like it, look like it. But
And so here's the thing. We did not make any progress necessarily just with the audio and figuring out who this person is that runs this account. But here's what we did figure out. They're that much more of a coward that they're not willing to go and talk to the recovering fundamentalist guys who are their biggest cheerleaders. They're not willing to talk to them with a voice changer to be featured on a podcast that literally maybe 1% of the people that listen to that podcast are going to feel negatively about what you said. So this person, that makes me want to find him that much more. Because pulling the mask off at this point would be so satisfying and just revealing this wicked person to the whole entire world and the whole IFB. Because the thing is, they are taking him by storm. You know, they're absolutely terrified. And there was one thing that I thought about that just, you know, a really ironic thing with all of them. They talk all the time about how it doesn't matter who runs this account because all we're doing is sharing the clips. All we're doing is just sharing their own clips. It doesn't matter. Well, here's the thing, though. If it doesn't matter, that means that it doesn't matter if the people know who shares the clips.
Right.
And if all you're doing is sharing the clips, then why are you hiding?
Yep.
And I think there's a couple reasons, because number one, the only thing you're not just sharing the clips, you're sharing segments of clips in some cases to purposefully try to make people look bad and incite a bunch of people to stir them up against. I mean, folks, this stuff is getting pathetic. I literally saw a guy that's a pastor and has been a pastor for years cower to these guys over the issue of drinking alcohol. I mean, they're making a lot of damage in the IFB, and the only thing it's doing to me is just showing how weak a lot of the IFBs become. You'll cower to people over drinking alcohol, things that you've believed, you know, firmly for years. But, you know, I think that they're just really inciting a mob. And the thing is, a lot of people are super bold behind an anonymous account. They can say things with zero consequences at all. Well, this is just a warning to IFB sermon clips. The consequences are coming. Your name will be revealed. That is going to happen one of these days, and you will be named publicly. And your most exciting thing right now, when you hear your name and your Twitter handle dropped at these conferences, that's going to be replaced with your actual name.
Yeah.
And it's going to be your worst nightmare because you're a wicked, evil person.
Yep. And the thing is, too, you say it doesn't matter who's behind it. I'm telling you, people are going to they're going to lose interest once they know who it is.
Yeah, because the whole idea of the anonymity and who is it and who's talking about it, that's what everyone's excited about.
Right.
You know, and the thing is, I don't know why you all are excited about trying to pull the mask off of a, you know, wicked person, because that's what they are.
Yeah.
Wicked person.
I enjoy exposing wicked people.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's a good thing to do, and it will put things in perspective. And it will cause others to be aware. Now, and let me say this too to some of you other lower level anonymous accounts. I'm not interested in pulling off your mask, because when I do, literally no one will care. I mean, that's just how insignificant you are. I mean, it will be like the most unimpressive thing in the world. Yeah. You know, on Scooby-Doo, whenever they pulled the masks off people, it was always that shocking moment. You know, they'd all like say the person's name, like, I can't believe it. But the problem is, when we pull your mask off, everyone will believe it, because when they see the patheticness that is under there, you know, it's already been reflected in your tweets and everything, and it'll just be like, well, that was a boring ending.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's going to be the case.
Well, let me give my theory for all the lower level anonymous accounts. And I think I'm 100% right on this, and I don't really care if people think I'm wrong, because I know I'm right. These are IFB pastors I'm almost 100% sure about it. And my reason for thinking that is because of what I said earlier. People that just attend non-denom churches don't care about the Bible. Your normal, average people that just sit in these churches that are one of just the thousands sitting in there, they live their life however. If you knock on their door and you ask them if they're a Christian, they'll say that they're a Christian. They'll say that they go to church, and half the time they'll remember the name of the church that they go to. But they don't have the time that they're going to dedicate to just hours online, on Twitter, arguing with people about the Bible and referencing scripture while they're doing it. These people are either pastors that used to be in the IFB that are now pastors of a non-denom church, or they're IFB pastors currently pastoring an IFB church that believe all this non-denom stuff, believe all this recovering fundamentalist junk, but are lying to the people in their congregation and pretending that they're still an IFB pastor. And those are the people that need to be revealed, because those are the most wicked of all of them. Leading an entire congregation that are tithing to your church, that are trusting you to minister to them, and are trusting you to take care of them, that are trusting you to preach the King James Bible, and that you're not sitting in your office referencing all these other Bible versions all the time. You are a ridiculously wicked person. And those are the kind of people that need to be exposed.
Right. Well, a lot of these people, too, when you listen to them give their stories, they always talk about how they had to be fake in the IFB.
Yeah.
And it's like, why?
Yeah.
Brian Edwards on the IFB sermon clips, he literally said when they were growing up, I guess his dad was an evangelist or something. He said, this is what he said. I'm not slandering the guy. This is what he said about himself and his own family and his own father. He said, we were chameleons. He said, my dad would have to tell him, don't bring that bass guitar to this church, don't wear this color lipstick. And when they'd go from church to church, they'd have to put on a different act.
Yep.
And literally said they were chameleons. Now, and you wonder why he left the IFB. If you're being raised that way, that's super wicked. These guys have talked about how they fake things in church and how they try to, work up tears, get crying, and they do all these things. Why were you being fake? I don't get that. And I think in their minds, because they were being fake while doing all those things, that everybody must be fake.
Exactly.
But no, some people believe in these things.
Yeah.
Somebody believe in dressing a certain way. And I get it. There are people in the IFB, there is a pressure, to, some people preach the King James Bible because if they don't, they're going to get kicked out of their club.
Yeah.
That's true. But you know what? You stink for being phony for the club, especially when you claim to be an independent Baptist. If they don't have dress standards, they're not going to get invited to preach at the big conferences. Then you're a wicked person for pretending to have all these standards that you don't have. You're wicked for play acting. I don't believe in pretending. The IFB world, they have not been good to me politically speaking. I've been thrown under the bus so many times, and they drive the bus, and I have zero reason for loyalty to any camp of the IFB. I have no reason to be loyal. I'm under no pressure to be loyal. And I was talking with another preacher about this week. I said, one thing at Liberty Baptist Church, you might not like everything you see in this church, but everything you see is genuine.
Yeah.
Because we don't have to do anything here to please any group, because we, I think, successfully make all the camps mad. And that's not what we're trying to do. But I don't play along with stuff.
Just sort of doing our own thing.
Yeah, if one of my pastor friends preaches something that I think is stupid, I'll still be nice to him, but I'm not going to pretend I believe that and go preach it too.
Yeah.
I'm not just going to change what I do because some pastor in a moment of proof texting, goes and just butchers a scripture saying people shouldn't do something, and it's just like, I don't agree. I'm just going to keep, I keep doing it. I've got no reason for loyalty there. And yes, there are people like the Edwards who pretend when they go from place to place. And that is super, super wicked.
And that's one of the things that they throw my way every time that the clip of me saying Josh Tice is a
flamboyant,
the most flamboyant pastor I've ever seen in my life, which I don't know how you can get offended about that. I'm just being honest. Even just take the person that I'm talking about out of it. he's literally the most flamboyant pastor I've ever seen in my life. I just haven't seen a more flamboyant pastor than him. And I'm sick of it. Yeah. I'm sick of him being lifted up as the Christ-like person that we need to follow, because all these guys are pointing to the Idea Day Network now. And I'm sick of seeing people go to the Idea Day Network and turn into one of these flamboyant freaks themselves. You know, I don't like it. But so what happens is just because of my age, you know, just because I'm younger, they think, because when they were my age, they were sitting in an IFB church, they were wearing a shirt and tie, they were holding a King James Bible, but they didn't actually believe it. Mm-hmm. They didn't do any of that stuff because they genuinely believed it. They were doing it because they felt like they needed to do it to impress other people. Well, here's the thing. I believe everything I say that I'm talking about on here. I don't just say it to try to impress people online, try to impress people in this church. I literally believe it. Mm. And I think that's what drives these people crazy, is that there's literally people out here that actually believe this stuff.
Right.
There's genuine people that haven't just been fake and aren't just doing it to impress other people. And I have no shame in that. Mm. And I think that's what makes them the most mad, is they hope to share clips and they hope to, you know, let everybody know that, you know, make you ashamed of the things that you say, but not ashamed of anything that I said. And no one on this podcast is ashamed of things that they say. We believe these things.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, what do they want us to do? Be fake like them?
Yeah. Exactly.
Be chameleons?
Exactly.
I said, and they don't have to like it, but that's, you know, it's what we think. It's what we believe. Mm-hmm. We might as well be honest. And so if you, you know, don't like a church that, you know, is real, then, you know, I guess this isn't the place for you. We can go be fake. And like I said, and I do, given the benefit of the doubt to some of these trendies, I think a lot of their queer mannerisms, they're doing it trying to fit in with the culture. I think they're being chameleons. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, do you really talk like that all the time?
Yeah, so you were a chameleon, you know, 20 years ago. How do I know you're not a chameleon now?
Yeah. I watched the other day, I saw a pastor from about, I forgot how many years ago it was. It wasn't that many years ago, who was in the IFB, and he's preaching full camp meeting style. Southern accent, whole 9 yards. I looked him up recently. He's full trendy now. Lost the Southern accent.
Hold on one second.
And it's like, you know, and there's a style, there's a way.
JC Groves might call on the show.
JC Groves might call on the show?
I gave him, I don't have an aux cord.
Give him my number. He's got my number.
Yeah.
Well, we'll let him call on the show because we talked about him, and that is a policy that we have here. Mm-hmm. So we'll let him have the last word, and he can tell us where we're wrong. I've tried to get him on the show many times, but I'd like for him to explain how being a chameleon, admitting to that, is not admitting to being wicked. So. Yeah, JC Groves, we're about to shut this down, but we will give you a quick, we've only got a few minutes left, so you're going to have to make it quick. Make sure he has my phone number. But anyway.
He shared it publicly for the whole Twitter world.
Yeah, it's like, he already gave it to the whole Twitter world. But yeah, so at the end of the day, folks, you know, just kind of say some of our closing remarks because we're going to give JC the last word. We don't like anonymous accounts. Yeah. At least other people, you know, who attack, they put their name behind it.
Yeah.
And so I can respect them as an opponent.
Yeah.
You know, and then I can challenge them too.
Yeah.
You know, I can return the challenge. When you do it in the anonymous method, there is no way of doing that. And you know, I've started just blocking anon accounts because, like, I don't want to give, I shouldn't give people like that and the respect of even answering a question. They don't deserve that respect. If it's an individual, you know, I believe in being respectful to people, but when you are not acting like a real person, then I can't do that. I'm just typing my phone number in here.
Yeah.
All right. So that's why we are as brutal as we are to some of these people, and why we really do want to rip the masks off of people. But he better make it quick because we got to get going here real soon.
We got a tiny bit of time.
But
We're up at 9:50 before he's got enough time.
I really appreciate him being willing to call in. I've been trying to get these guys on the show forever.
Have you ever spoken to him?
I've never spoken to him. Just some back and forth on Twitter. but we'll see if he can muster up the courage. Where is he saying he's going to do it? Was he on the live chat? Oh, there we go. Here we go. All right. Hello, this is Tommy McMurtry. Is this JC?
This is IFB Preacher Clips.
This is IFB Preacher Clips?
No, it's JC.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, hey, we're going to give you the last word. You got brought up. So, what do you think about what we said so far?
I mean, I just think it's absolutely hilarious. Y'all keep going. Hey, truth never fears a challenge. If you think you can unmask him, unmask him. I love it. I think it's hilarious.
Well, we're doing everything we can. I'm convinced that when we unmask this guy, it's going to be a massive disappointment to your crowd, just because it's not going to be somebody you're going to want to be aligned with.
You sure?
I think so.
Now, hey, JC, give me the satisfaction that you guys were just reading off things with the voice changer, because I felt pretty good about
Was that Nathan's voice?
I will tell you with 100% truth, with my hand on a King James Version 1611, amen. That was an interview. Yes, it was pre-recorded because we don't know who it was, and we conducted the interview with recordings. And
Was
so
that
I will
his
tell you
voice,
straight
though?
up, 100%.
Okay, so that was IFB Preacher Clip's voice.
Or her voice.
Or her voice. Okay. Well, that's good to know, too, because I was kind of giving up on that because I thought it was Nathan. So,
or is it?
Yeah, I thought it. Austin kept saying it sounded like Nathan. I didn't think it did, but then when we were kind of listening to that last time, I was hearing it a little bit, but I might have. So that you're telling me with your hand on a King James 1611, amen, that was not any of your guys' voices.
We have said this 1,000,000 times, Tommy. I don't know how many times we have to say it. We are not IFB Preacher Clips, but I love it. And it's funny because, hey, the 1611 isn't authorized, so maybe I'm not telling the truth.
Well, let your yay be yay and nay nay. You shouldn't have to have your hand on the Bible.
Listen, here's the deal.
But yeah, I don't think you guys.
You don't have to dig anymore. It's not Brian Edwards, Nathan Cravette, or J.C. Groves, and I can tell you that with 100% truth.
Right. Well, I haven't suspected you guys. I thought though maybe
you guys Nathan
read his
10
script.
Minutes ago.
What's that?
I said y'all thought it was Nathan 10 minutes ago.
No, we thought you were reading off a script.
Yeah, we thought you were. Yeah, that was what we were trying to get across. We thought Nathan was reading IFB scripts.
I got you.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, because I just heard it as clear as what I ever have, and it was pretty northern. So, is it you, Tommy?
What's that?
Is it you? Because it had a pretty northern accent.
No, it's not me. No, not me. But I'm going to find him.
Who was it that you called out the other day? Dudley?
Yeah. So
who is Matt Dudley? That's my buddy. I met him in Vegas.
I didn't think it was Matt Dudley either. I just threw him out there just because people were telling me it was him. But
that's funny.
I didn't think it was Matt Dudley. I didn't think it was the guy. Yeah. I thought I knew who it was yesterday. It turned out it wasn't him. You know who it is, but listen to the first clip we did. It sounded just like him, and I was devastated when I thought it was him.
Yeah.
But anyway, well, hey, one of these days when we have more time, you guys really need to come on the whole show, and we need to have a real conversation.
We'll pray about it.
All right. Well, hey, I appreciate you calling in. So you can give us the final word, and then we're going to cut this thing off. But we appreciate you calling in.
Free Life Soap. Go to click on the Free Life Soap tab. Use your promo code RFB. Get 20% off of your order.
All right. Thank you. We'll see you next week.